Hi, this is Kathleen Taylor, and I'm with the Nevada Women's Business Center. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Eric Coyle with the U.S. Census Bureau, and you're in for a treat. If you were a business owner or someone who was thinking about starting a business and you want to know how you can use the U.S. Census data to help you with your marketing efforts, to help you identify your target market more, then this is definitely a great resource for you. So what we'll do is we'll have a great conversation with Eric. I'll share some things with you about him, and then we're actually going to switch over and have a live demonstration to go online on the US Census website to share with you how you can access this information on their website. So with that, it's my pleasure to share some information with you about Eric. And Eric serves as the data dissemination specialist for the US Census Bureau. He is responsible for building and maintaining relationships with stakeholders in the western region of the United States through the dissemination of census data and information. He also conducts data access workshops and presentations every month to a variety of organizations, local governments, businesses, media, universities, nonprofits, et cetera, et cetera. And you're in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. It's my pleasure to have Eric here with us today. So this is such an exciting and engaging tool for people to use who are creating their business plan or not quite sure
Mhm.
as to where to go to access information to help them in doing their market analysis. So could you share with the audience of the great things that you guys have available resource wise?
Absolutely. Thank you. First, thanks for having me. This is, I think, a great opportunity and a new way to kind of share the data that we have available that most people aren't aware of, to be honest. But especially when it comes to some of the great tools that we have available online, some of the great resources that we have available to the public, myself included. And so you're absolutely right. We have a vast amount of information on census.gov that covers a myriad of topics from economic data, employment data, demographics, socioeconomic, detailed housing that comes from various surveys, primarily the American Community Survey. Um, and so what I find, I tend to find more times than not, is that people just aren't aware of how much data we actually have, and then additionally, how complex it can be to navigate a website as census.gov, which is so comprehensive in terms of the amount of data it has available to the public for free. So one of the great new tools that we are promoting, among many others, is the Census Business Builder, which does make it easy for the public to actually, go out and or use this tool to, and you can go out actually because it is optimized for mobile use. So you can access the Census
Okay.
Business Builder on your mobile device now. They
Oh,
have
very
they have
good.
optimized it for mobile use. The only caveat I would say to that would be ensure that you have a unlimited data plan,
Okay,
or you're connected to Wi-Fi
sure.
because it's calling a lot of data.
Oh, I can imagine. And a couple of things here. One is a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but typically when a person says US
Mhm.
Census.gov, we automatically think about just the census data that occurs once every 10 years or
Correct.
so.
Mhm.
So the US Census, it's more, their website is far more robust. It goes beyond the data that's collected on a 10-year basis, so to speak. It
Mhm.
goes beyond that. And now they actually have a couple of small business portals that you can use for business development. And also, I would like to have you talk about the resources in that it's free.
Mhm.
All of this data is free, so be just be aware that instead of getting sucked into going online and seeing different companies or organizations that can provide you with X amount of information, but if you want more detailed information, then you have to pay for it. Well, here you have a free resources that are tax dollar support. So please make sure that this is part of your resources.
Yeah.
Free and a definitely uh, legitimate resource at that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, data is gold, and that's something that one of my favorite people out here, Kathy Carrico.
Yes, at the SBDC.
Yes, at the
Very
SBDC.
good.
Yeah, so she's a big proponent, and she understands completely how valuable data can be. And as the nation's data resource, we obviously know the value of the data and how important it is that one of the things you touched on, how accurate the data is. So that's something we definitely pride ourselves on as an organization that is the nation's data resource, and providing the most comprehensive and accurate data for free to the public, because it is the nation's data. It is the data that we collect from over 130 surveys, is provided back to the public. And then we also have people like myself, data dissemination specialists, that cover all 50 states, including Puerto Rico, to help people navigate our website and to get the data. So I provide, in just the state of Nevada and Idaho, the other state that I cover, but just in the state alone, I get emails all the time, data inquiries, whether it's from students or professors or small business owners or entrepreneurs, congressional offices, nonprofit organizations, grant writers, you name it. I get emails from all different types of stakeholders out there, data users out there, and asking any number of questions. And I'm there to help them. And if I don't have an immediate answer, I will find that answer. And that's what we as data dissemination specialists are there to provide, is that service, that free service.
Yes.
To go out and do trainings and workshops and to show people exactly how to get the data they're looking for. So whether it's in person or online or via email or over the phone or via webinar, whatever method that we have available to us, we're going to try to assist the public in helping them get the data they need. So that's a great resource that most people aren't aware of. That's pretty much available in every, we cover all 50 states, again, including Puerto Rico.
That really is impressive.
It's always one of those things I find that when I encounter people and I start talking about some of the things that I do, and one of the first questions they'll typically ask is, how much does it cost?
Yes. Exactly.
And they love the answer that I give them, by and large.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but you were right about another thing, which is the decennial census. That's the, once every 10 years. And that's typically, most people, when they look at the Census Bureau, they just think that, what are you guys doing the other 9 years?
Right, exactly.
We're doing a lot.
A lot.
We're collecting data from, like I said, over 130 surveys, economic census, survey of business owners, which is tied into that. So we have data that we produce every 5 years on from the survey of business owners that gives people just an incredible amount of data on identifying business owners, characteristics of business owners by race, ethnicity, gender, and veteran status.
That's amazing.
It is. And so there's that's, again, tip of the iceberg compared to the amount of socioeconomic data, detailed housing data. It's not just, a lot of people think when it comes to Census Bureau, you're just going to get that basic demographic data.
Exactly. Yes.
And it's so much more comprehensive than that. And from the ACS, the American Community Survey, which is now where we get much more the detailed characteristics of the population.
Wow.
So that particular survey produces over 450 characteristics of the population, down to a very small level of geography.
That's amazing.
And so, again, most people don't realize that this is something that goes below, just your state, your county, your city, your zip code level. It actually gets down to a much smaller level of geography that we refer to as a block group.
Yes.
So that gets more into the geography lesson, but which I won't get too much into. But it is important because the Census Business Builder tool that I'll be demonstrating live gets down to that tract level, which just is the one level above the block group. And the tract level is a level of geography that goes below zip code level.
Okay.
So where a lot of people think that zip code's like kind of where it's at,
Mhm.
through the Census Business Builder, you can get further down into a much lower geography.
Wow.
And therefore, when you're like you're visualizing this data on a map,
Mhm.
and you really want to pinpoint an area, well, you can get further detail by going below that zip code level into the tract level. We refer to it as a census tract. And so, that's one of those things that allows the Census Business Builder allows you to do, which is to really identify a much lower level of geography and get comprehensive data on not just the demographics and socioeconomic and the housing, but also look at business data and also look at the consumer spending data. So in the business tool, we're getting consumer spending data from Esri as through our partnership and providing that to the public for free.
That's amazing. In that, from a marketing perspective, or looking at your target market, how can someone use that information when it comes to strategically marketing to a particular tract?
Oh, well, it's in many different ways. If you're looking at trying to identify areas, if you want to open up a type of restaurant, or if you
Right.
want to market to a particular audience, based on demographics data or socioeconomic data
Yes.
or housing data. If you're a real estate agent, something like that, and you want to just look at particular areas of housing, or you want to open up a gas station, see where the families, or or I want to open up a daycare center, but let me look at where all the 5-year-olds are within an area and get down to the smallest geography you can easily through a particular tool. There's lots of different ways, whether it's advertising, whether it's where you want to establish your business, where you want to expand a business. So that's what our data allows you to do essentially. And the important thing is that our data is all it's all aggregated, so it's not like anything, any of the data that we produce or provide allows anyone to actually identify individuals specifically. It's all aggregated information. Sure. Right? So but that's one of the great things about our information. And the tool is also the business builder, the small business edition. I have to say is something that we found is not just popular with entrepreneurs or small business owners, but a wide array of data users out there that are finding it, just because it's visually pleasing. It's a very simple interface. The data is pulled very quickly. We find that pretty much a lot of other types of data users, almost every type you can imagine, is really interested in using that particular tool and benefiting from it.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So
I have a question regarding the more digital media platforms. So I can understand how this data can really help someone if they are opening up a brick and mortar type of business. How would someone that's in e-commerce use this particular data?
Well, I think in the e-commerce aspect of it, I think you would have to probably look in terms of advertising, because I know through advertising algorithms, they can sort of, if you're using Facebook or something like that, or Google or what have you, or YouTube, for instance, or example, they kind of go by, zip codes, or, I think similar geographies to figure out what is the audience. So in that sort of same realm, I know through Facebook, you can target areas to say, I want to get everybody in this particular area, this geography, in terms of advertising, right? And I think that would be one way to do it. Or if you have a particular brand through e-commerce, again, knowing how to target your audience, knowing who your audience is, knowing what that population down in a small geography looks like overall, and how diverse it can be, that's only going to help you, to target your audience. I think that's whether it's e-commerce or brick and mortar,
right.
You have to be able to know in a geography, what is that? Who are my consumers? What in this area are they spending on mostly? What in this area are they spending on mostly? Et cetera. And that's what this tool allows you to do. So it's very comprehensive in terms of the data that's in, and it's not in a gazillion different sources. The data that goes into the Census Business Builder is coming from the American Community Survey to get us the demographic and socioeconomic and the housing, That's who my potential customers are.
Yes.
And then you have other businesses like mine. So that's data coming from the county business patterns, not employer statistics. Um, and then you also have data from the survey business owners that goes into a regional analyst tool. And then, of course, the consumer spending data.
So you've listed basically 5 different sources that the U.S. Census
Right.
pulls from in order to create this data pool for us.
Right.
And that's really robust.
It is.
And also, in addition to that, not only is it a great tool to help you to identify your target audience and your marketing, but also your competitors too.
Yeah.
So could you speak to
Well,
that?
in regard to that, you can see, other businesses like mine, you can see what are the payroll and employees, et cetera, because the business tool, the first step that you have to do is identify the business, right? Now, if you're just looking to use this tool to get demographic data, maybe some of the data that we have in socioeconomic, something like percent speaking Spanish at home, you're not necessarily interested in the business data. You don't need to worry about too much of that. Just select any business, because the data that's going to be provided would be the same for any type of business in terms of who are my potential customers,
Sure.
right? It's the business type that you select. That's going to matter when you're looking for that particular information. When you're looking at who are my competitors,
Right.
what are they? What's their payroll? What's the number of employees? What's their own business looking? Is it growing? Is it depleting? Over time, and we have that data in that tool to show you. So, and the good thing is, with the latest update, that the most recent update to the Census Business Builder, they added, before it was only 52 industries, and now we have all industries that are covered under NAICS.
Oh, wow.
So everything that's
incredible.
Covered under the North American Industry Classification System is in that tool.
You guys have really, gave us a gift here. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
When I was an entrepreneur, this wasn't in existence, and that was about almost 10 years ago. That's amazing.
Well, and the other cool thing is, like I said, now that it's mobilized or optimized for mobile use, you can actually, they have a My Location feature they added to it as well. So now you can drive around somewhere, be on your mobile device, again, hopefully unlimited data or Wi-Fi or something, because it's calling a lot of data.
Wow,
so it's
that's
pulling a lot of data, even though it's working really fast.
Sure.
But being able to drive around and see a location, and then pull up this tool on your phone and then hit My Location, and boom, you're going to get data right off the bat.
That's amazing.
Down to exactly where you're located. So it's pretty amazing. It's incredible, and it's for us, it's great as data dissemination specialists, because we're out there as ambassadors to all the data that we have, all the tools that we have available to the public. And this is one that is just such an easy sell for us in terms of, and again, selling free data and free services.
This is awesome.
So it's great. Yeah, we for us, it's great to go out there and enlighten the public and educate them and get them more aware of all the data that exists, but especially when you have great tools that allow people to access the data.
Absolutely.
So it's one thing to have all this data out there, but it's another to create a tool that makes it so easy for them to access it.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is absolutely one of those tools.
Yeah, you guys really did bridge the gap between having the information and the access point to that.
Mm-hmm.
And also looking at it from local and regional perspective, you have 2 portals that looks at the data from locally, from a small business perspective, and also regionally. So could you
so you have we've talked mostly about the small business edition, and the small business edition is really that great kind of tool to get down to that lower level geography. But the regional analyst edition is actually another great tool to for regional analysts, for planners, for anyone who's looking to kind of conduct that type of analysis using the Census Business Builder. So it has the same exact interface that you find in the Small Business Edition, but there's a small tweak to where it's focusing on counties. Okay. So in the splash page of that particular tool, all you do is select the county that you're looking for. And then you can easily build a report just on that county if that's what you want, and you'll get the survey of business owner data associated with that particular tool. The survey of business owners is only available for that regional analyst edition. So they didn't add that in terms of the reporting feature.
Okay.
So they don't have that with the small business edition, but they do have it with the regional analysts. And what the regional analyst allows you to do is just combine counties. So you can either look at the state as a whole, and you can do that in small business edition, but you can look at the state as a whole to get that survey of business owner data, or you could then combine a collection of counties very easily by just clicking on the county and adding it to your regional analysis report.
Oh, wow.
And so all the data that you'll be pulling will automatically be combined into that report. So it won't just be, if you want to look at Clark County alone, fine. But if you want to look at Clark County with Nye and Lincoln, et cetera, you can combine these counties and do like a southern region report versus northern region report.
Excellent. Yes.
So yeah, it's just, again, another really great feature. And I think that we're going to just continue to see more and more features added to this tool. Hopefully not to make it too complex, but just to make it easier to use, and even have maybe a little bit more, maybe consumer spending data added, maybe some more socioeconomic data. We'll see. But we know that this data gets updated quarterly. And and this is a tool that I've seen get more attention than many other tools that we have available, being that it's updated so frequently. And so the other good thing is that a lot of the updates are coming directly from the data users, because the tool itself has a feedback button.
Really?
And so they actually take, and I believe one of the last updates, maybe not the current, but the one before that, I know they had over 600 responses that they used and incorporated into the updates and so the data users, they use the tool, and there's a feedback button, send feedback, and they sure enough they did, and thank goodness for it, because our tools will only get as good as the feedback we get from the people using them.
Absolutely.
So I think it's it's such a great sort of resource that they realize the importance of it, and they're taking the feedback seriously. And that's with a lot of the other tools that we have. I always encourage my data users when I do workshops or webinars. I always tell them, use that feedback button, send the feedback, even if it's positive, great, send positive feedback.
Sure.
Let them know you love the tool. And if it's negative, send negative feedback. If it's whatever it may be, just because all that is taken into consideration when they update these tools, and they look at, do we need to keep this tool around? Are people using it?
Mm-hmm.
How are they using it? Is it really a benefit compared to some of the other tools we have?
This is so refreshing in that the U.S. Census organization is taking its customers' perspective and opinion into consideration and improving the tool itself through the feedback.
Right.
I think that's fantastic versus just assuming from a data dissemination specialist perspective and stopping there.
Right.
I think this is fantastic to really incorporate that feedback to enhance it or tweak it or so on and so forth.
No, I think it's one of the sort of the great features, in addition to just what it does in general, but being able to send a message to the people that are behind the tool. And I know them personally, so I know that they the feedback they get, and how excited they are about it, and because they get a lot of positive too, and not just, but they really see what data users want, and they go, okay, well they want to be able to download straight from the map. Okay, let's add that. They added it. They want to be able to have a My Location feature. They want all businesses. They want this. They want that. And so whatever they can accommodate, they will, based on the amount of feedback.
Again, it seems like more of an organic process too.
Right.
Now, regarding the regional tool, from a small business perspective, if someone was thinking about expanding their business beyond Clark County or maybe Northern Nevada, they could use that tool, or Central Nevada, if there is such a thing. Looking at
it's there.
Yeah,
I've driven through it.
Yes. It's on the map.
There you go.
Yeah, so a person.
Another great tool we have called On the Map.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Check it out. Yeah, so a person could very well use that tool to look at expansion opportunities and gather data from those particular counties from a regional perspective.
Right.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, there's I think, when it comes to the data that we have, it's really the data users that are gonna, make the most of it in any which way that they can. But it is so invaluable to so many different types of organizations and data users out there. And just like I said, I get emails all the time, and it's just from every background you can imagine. And I get a lot of interesting questions too. We don't have all the data that exists. I can't tell you how many refrigerators are in every single home, or something like
Sure.
that. I mean, at least not to my knowledge.
Right. It's a little obscure,
Yeah, but it's always good that I always feel good that either way that people, when they do reach out, that they know that they have someone that they can with locally, or at least covering their particular geographic area, that they can reach out to specifically. And in addition to myself, in the state, you also have, every state has a state data center.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And so ours is actually, and they're typically located sort of in conjunction with like universities or state libraries. So ours is actually located in Carson City at the state library there.
Oh, neat.
And ours.
I really like libraries. If you want to get on my good side, take me to a library.
And I think actually, I think what's really cool, and I agree with you, libraries are great. And hopefully, we maintain those institutions.
Yes.
Even if they go all digital.
Right. I agree.
But no, what's really cool, I think the state library, and don't quote me on it, but I think they do have a 3D printer there that you can use. I think it's ours. But also that's where our state data center coordinator is Diane Lightwood, and she's also another resource in the state. And through census.gov, you can locate your state data center coordinator in every single state across the country to just get an additional resource to help you get the data you're looking for. So because I cover 2 states, I travel to conferences, I get pulled all the time for different various reasons across the country. So I'm not always available.
Sure.
But the good thing is that there are additional resources. We even have an 1-844, like kind of a 1-800 number now.
Wow.
And it's 1-844 ask data. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can remember
that's pretty easy to remember. 1-844
Yes,
ask data. And then we also have an email, which is census.askdata@census.gov as well. So that's, again, we want the public to be able to get the data when they need it, and to know that they have resources and, people that are there to assist them,
That's wonderful. And, I'm really excited to actually see this, right before your eyes, basically. So what we're going to do is we'll have Eric walk us through the website on the U.S. Census data website to show you these resources and how you can access them. So you just give us a quick minute and we'll transition over to the website. It'll be shared on the screen. So if you just bear with me, I'd appreciate that.
Okay. Great.
And
Thank you.
and I'll bring the mic over so you're nice and comfy. Thank you.
Go. Okay. All right. Let's get our hands on some data. So this is a little bit of an unusual format, but I really I always like to either present the data, talk about the data. So this is a great environment. I thank you again for the invitation and the opportunity. But I would be remiss if I didn't actually get an opportunity to show you people actually how to access the data, because that is primarily what we as DDSs love to do. And so, hopefully you guys can see everything that I'm doing and may be able to follow along even. But again, I'm available to conduct free training and workshops, whether to an individual or to groups, excuse me, in person or via webinar. And so you can reach out to me through my contact information, which I'll provide at the end. So first off, when you go to census.gov, you've got a lot of great information already here. And one of the things I just like to point out as sort of a quick tool that makes it easy to get data, and visualize it, and also kind of have some other sort of features associated, is the quick facts tool. So this is probably the most commonly used tool when it comes to census.gov, primarily also because it's location, and so location. It's got great real estate, dead center of census.gov, can't miss it. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually use this to compare up to 6 geographies of your choosing at once. So here you can just simply use that drop-down menu, and and so using the drop-down menu, you would then just select your state. And right off the bat, you're going to see a collection of facts, a list of facts in the table view, as it's referred to. So here you can see where it says table up here, and it's got the number 1 with a circle around it and showing you this is your first geography that you've selected. Now, what you can then do is come up here and immediately add another geography of your choosing. And they don't all have to be in the same state. It can be another state if you wanted to compare states. It can be a counties, multiple counties. The only caveat to this tool really is in regard to cities and towns. So it has all states and counties, but for cities and towns, they must have a population threshold of 5,000 or more. So hopefully that threshold will eventually go away. I've been told that possibly it will, but that's of course tentative. So we'll hopefully see that happen sooner than later. But just by selecting Clark County, I just selected it in the menu. I'll show you again. So here, when you typed in Clark, I just selected Clark County there in Nevada, and then it populated it. And now what I have the ability to do is actually remove the state. If, let's say, I just wanted to compare a collection of counties or multiple cities, what have you. So it makes it really easy to remove and add these geographies. And I'll show you a couple other ways that you can add geographies to your table view as well. So here now you see the number 2 with a circle around it that's showing 2 geographies that are listed, and we still have the ability to add 4 more geographies of our choosing. Okay, so here I'll show you that you have this collection of facts that you can easily get to, whether it's population data, data on age and sex, race and Hispanic origin, population characteristics, housing, families and living arrangements, education, health, economy, transportation, income and poverty, and even business data. Okay, so there you can see total employer establishments, total employment, annual payroll, percent change. You even have data on men-owned firms, women-owned firms, minority-owned firms, and non-minority-owned firms, as well as veteran-owned firms. Okay. So if you want to know where all this data is coming from, all you have to do is go ahead and click on this icon next to the fact. Once you click on that, it's going to actually populate a window it's going to open a window that's going to show you exactly where that data is coming from. And there you can see the source of the data, that particular fact, and then allows you to click on the link to that particular page to learn more about that specific program, the Pop Estimates program. Okay, so lots of great ways that you can continue to sort of dig into the data further if you want to. The other thing that you can do, aside from just being able to select a fact immediately, so let's say I wanted to go into businesses, and let's say look at all women-owned firms, and it takes me to that fact down here. I can also isolate the topics. I can isolate the facts by topic. So if I go down here to businesses in my topics drop-down menu, and then I go ahead and select businesses, you're going to see now only the business information, those business facts, those facts related to business, are going to be isolated for Nevada and Clark County. Okay, but I can still add more geographies. But what you'll notice is going to happen, so when I go and I type in Las Vegas City, Nevada, now I've got my 3 geographies. But you'll notice that there's an X here for these particular facts for the city level geography. And the reason for that is due to the fact that the data that we're getting, this fact, is coming from the county business patterns. So here you can see county business patterns. That's where it's coming from. So of course, it wouldn't apply to that level of geography. However, when you go to all firms, you can see that this data is actually coming from the economic census survey of business owners. So we can get it down to that level of geography when it comes to these particular facts. So you'll notice that in certain areas, especially in the rural areas, you're going to find maybe some of the data is going to be suppressed. So, and that can be either to avoid disclosure or confidential information, as it states here for that particular code when you find it in a table, or fewer than 25 firms. You'll see an F there. So suppression will occur for primarily 2 reasons, and that is either if to avoid disclosure of confidential information, and also if it does not meet public standards. Okay, so the cool thing though with the new quick facts features is that they do allow mapping as well. So just by clicking on the mapping tool there, you're going to see that you now have a visual of the data. Now, of course, because it's going by the total employer establishments, there's no data there for that particular fact. But all I have to do is scroll down to the fact that I'm looking for. And let's say I want to do how many women-own firms. Now I have the data. And all I have to do is highlight these little dots. And it's going to, with my mouse, I just scroll over. And if I want to add any of these to my table, all I have to do is click that button and add it to my table, just like that. Again, you can add, we're looking at 3, so you can add 3 more geographies of your choosing. Now, if you want to look at this by county, all you have to do is go back to your table, remove that city so that the first column is showing Clark County. And now when I go to my mapping feature, everything's by county. So here we can see that fewer than 25 firms, meaning that the data doesn't exist because it doesn't meet our standard. So here you can see where we have Clark County highlighted, but I can click on any one of these other counties and I can add it to my table just as easily. And again, you can change this map to view any one of these facts as long as it applies. And for the county level, they will all typically apply. And then the chart feature is the other great update they made, to where it just basically provides the data in a chart view for all the counties in the state. Okay, and the dashboard is something that brings everything together. And you can change the dashboard. Here we're just looking at women-owned firms, but you can change it to any fact. You can still isolate the topics, even in your dashboard feature. And there you see the chart at the bottom. And the cool thing now is, in addition to, as before, you could download and print, but now you can actually embed this, and you can also share it on social media. So we have jumped into the 21st century. We now have social media platforms as well, and we provide the ability to share a lot of our data through the social media platforms as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Social media, U.S. government. I am really enjoying this. This is great.
So that's as much as I want to show you for quick facts, but just to point out that there is business data associated with this tool as well. So it really comes in handy, and it's a very simple interface, and it's very easy to use. And the cool thing is, if you go back to our homepage, clicking on that logo, you can actually embed this into your own website.
Wow.
With that little inverted arrow there, you just click on that. It's a widget, so just take it, pop it into your own web page, and
Excellent.
now you're getting everybody access to this
Excellent.
amazing tool. So, and the same goes for the economic indicators and the pop clock, which can be a little scary. So I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
so, but let's go ahead and we'll go straight to the CBB. So under data, the data tab here at the top, you're going to find data, tools, and apps. And right under American Fact Finder, you're going to see the link for Census Business Builder. Okay. The other thing I like to point out is if you go to topics and you go to business and you go to our business main page, and here's where you can find the NAICS classification codes. This is a search page that allows you to actually go in and just type in a keyword and pull up that particular code associated with the business.
That's excellent.
So, but here in the business main page, you'll have access to the economic census, economic indicators, our industry statistics portal, which is looking like it's showing it's not appearing there, but that's a banner for the ISP, the industry statistics portal. Another tool to help you identify data that's coming from businesses by industry. So associated with the NAICS code. So, and then down here, you'll see here, there would be a logo for Census Business Builder here. So I think it's just the browser itself. So sometimes I find that if a browser is not working, sometimes just changing it will allow you to kind of use the tools. Sometimes like LED on the map, local employment dynamics on the map tool doesn't work well in Internet Explorer, but it works well in the browser. So that's always a sort of a tip I make to data users out there. If you find a browser's not showing or the tool's not working very well, just switch your browser and you should be fine.
That's good to know. I'm just curious, Eric, the economic census and economic indicators, is that more like looking at the social behaviors or social trends, or
So
not so much so,
not
or
so, well, it really depends.
or
So
like buying
Correct.
consumer trends. Okay.
So the economic census is basically data on businesses,
Okay.
right? So it's all about number of employees, sales receipts.
Oh, very good. Very good.
It's actually I believe over 200 characteristics provided on businesses.
That's amazing.
And then you have the economic indicators, which is only select number of industries but it's updated monthly and quarterly, and that's where the economic indicators, if we go back to our homepage, that's where this widget is all about. So you can click here, and there's so much information that you can pull from that particular tool, that web page. And there's also an app associated with that as well, because this data from the economic indicators actually affects the stock market. So
Wow.
there's a lot of people that value that particular data.
Wow.
In fact, that's one of the reasons why we created a mobile app. We have 3 mobile apps altogether, and one of them is the America's Economy app. So if you go to your Android store or your iPhone, iTunes, and type in America's Economy, you'll be able to download the free app that gives you monthly and quarterly updates from our economic indicators.
Excellent.
And there's lots of great things that if given more time, we could, I can come back and we can focus just on some of the business and econ data if you wanted to.
Sure, and I will definitely take you up on that. Thank you.
Always happy to. So the data tab here at the top, you to get to the builder, data tools and apps, and you can go to the main page to get the full list of tools that we have, which are many. And little descriptions that kind of give you an overview of how all these tools, what they're used for, and there's again so many tools that we have. But these are some of the listing of some of the most popular ones, like Census Explorer, My Congressional District, the Quick Facts, which I just showed you, and of course the pop clock as well. So we'll go ahead and click on the Business Builder tool, and now that's going to take us straight to the CBB page, where you actually have a lot of resources available just in this page alone. So here, of course, you have the 2.1 update for the Small Business Edition, and the Regional Analyst Edition. But you also have an overview tab. You have videos and webinars. So if you click on the videos and webinars, you actually get a full list of YouTube videos to help you kind of just further
Oh, fantastic.
figure out how to use this tool to the best,
Yes.
to your advantage. So then you also have, help and FAQ page. So really important to have those as well. So just, really lots of other resources. Need further assistance, of course. We've got the phone numbers and emails, of course, that you can get further assistance just on this specific tool. So again, we're always trying to make it easy for the public to get help in getting the data that they need. So here in the 2.1 update, I'm going to go ahead and click on this logo for the Small Business Edition, select to launch. So I'm going to click on that, and that's going to pop us right into our Census Business Builder splash page.
Wow.
So really, really great interface, like I mentioned. It's got these icons that, very sort of app-like structure.
Oh, yes, very user-friendly.
So here you could click on that particular industry and you're going to get a drop-down. So the most popular ones are given these icons, right? So whether it's food services, you're probably going to find food trucks. Or bars, etc. So food services here, you'll see that there's food trucks, snack bars, fast food, restaurants, food contractors, bars. Don't have enough of those in Vegas, I'm sure. But no, and then you have even professional services, personal services. So just some of the more popular. There's daycare, taxi services, landscaping, etc. So then you can go into professional and look at something like real estate. And this is one I typically like to go because I feel like I have so many friends that do real estate on the side, right?
Yes, so
everyone's like a closet real estate agent.
Yes.
So here, in terms of this particular industry, we'll go ahead and just select that. But down here below, this is where, aside from the popular industries that are visualized there, you can actually type in another one. So if, like, say I wanted to type in sporting goods store. Well, now I've got a list of the codes, there you go, associated with that particular industry. So sporting and athletic. And then if I select that, the business data I'm going to get is going to be relating to that particular industry.
That's fantastic. And now that's how it's related to the NAICS code.
There you go.
Excellent.
And these are all the various codes. So NAICS, of course, is a hierarchical code system, 2-digit being that, that overall broad industry. So like retail trade is 45. And then the 6-digit code would be like toy store, toy hobby shop, right? And that would be 4 or 5, to 6 digits to give you a more detailed industry. So, and that's how that the NAICS code system works.
Very comprehensive.
Yeah. So, and actually we, having the NAICS code and being able to get the information and so much data based on the NAICS codes is something that a lot of people go to census.gov for, actually. So we get a lot of visits to census.gov for people specifically looking for information on NAICS code. And here you have a tool that makes it so easy.
Oh, it does, definitely. I mean, there's a big difference between using this and it's just very targeted versus doing a Google search.
Right, exactly.
Because you get so much stuff. This is fantastic.
So once you select your industry, whatever it may be, you can either select the My Location if you happen to be on your mobile device, or if your internet or your computer's connected, by location services. Here we can go ahead and we'll just type in Clark County. And so now you get a drop down and you just select Clark County, Nevada. And now you have the option to either go to a map or create a report.
Wow.
Okay. So I like to go to the map first to show people just exactly the visual that you're going to get when you go into this tool.
Sure.
Because you can still build a report, or create a report right from this feature alone, from the mapping feature. So it's gonna go ahead. There you can see where in the default is our selection that we made for the industry. There's the geography that we selected, and now it's going to say, okay, it's defaulting to total population. But just to give you an idea, the amount of information that you can sort of select in terms of your variables, you can look at my potential customers, demographic data. So total population.
Wow.
You have percentage, 18 years and over.
Under 5 years, percentage under 18
This is
years,
fantastic,
21
Eric.
years and over,
Wow.
65 years and over, percent white, Black or African American, American Indian and Alaska Native, percent Asian, Native Hawaiian, percent two or more races. You can also look at Hispanics data as well. So this is giving you that demographic data, right? What are the demographics of an area?
Excellent.
And now you can then also look at the socioeconomic data, which is falls into my potential customers. So now you're looking at household size, bachelor's degree, median income, percent in poverty, high school degree, percent employed, disabled, health coverage, average travel time to work, veterans, foreign born, percent speaking Spanish at home. Could that be valuable?
This is fantastic.
And then you have the housing as well. So as a real estate agent, maybe I want to know how many owner occupied housing units, renter occupied housing units, single family detachment, home ownership rate, vacancy rate, median owner occupied housing unit value.
Absolutely. Or even if you're thinking about opening a carpet cleaning business.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Housing comes into play.
It does indeed. So a lot of really, great sort of information just on this one particular topic, my potential customers, right? You go to other businesses like mine, and now you can see employers, non-employers, and key ratios.
Wow.
Okay, associated with this data.
This is awesome.
So most people don't realize that non-employers actually make up the majority of businesses in the country, over 75%. But they do account for less, I believe, or 6% of the revenue in the country.
Interesting.
So, but again, more businesses by non-employers.
Yes.
Meaning they don't have, it's somebody that maybe owns a barbershop, doesn't have any employees, someone has their own business at home, whatever it may be. This is the majority of businesses, the non-employers. So it's important to have this data, and that's coming from our non-employer statistics, right? So it's very, very key. And then the consumer spending, well, this is also a really great feature they added to show us total per capita.
Wow.
And consumer spending on dining out, entertainment, recreation, financial investment, healthcare, household services, personal care products, local transportation, travel. So I mean, lots of great data here. This is just a snippet of the consumer spending data that's out there, but it's still, to get this and not have to pay for it.
Absolutely.
It's a pretty
huge.
great feature. So let's just say, for our real estate business here, we want to look at owner occupied housing units, and we can select that variable. And now you can see, well, by county, it's going to show, yes, Clark County is going to have more than what we see here in green. Right. And so there's where you can see, and any one of these counties that are adjacent, and anywhere you can click on, and it'll change this map. So if I go here and now I click on Nye County, it changes the variable, it changes the estimates, and everything that we're looking at is now related to Nye County. Just that easy.
Wow.
But obviously I want to get below that county level. And so here I want to go ahead and I can zoom in. A couple ways you can do it. You can zoom in, or you can simply go right back up to your geography and select another geography, type in another geography, or you can simply zoom in. And once you zoom in, you're now going to see the option for city and town and zip code are now highlighted.
That's fantastic.
Right. So now I can just go ahead, if I want to, click on city and town. Now my map has changed. And I can see that if I click on that particular geography for Las Vegas, I've got all the data provided there. So owner occupied housing units change over time. And then I've even got some other additional estimates. Now, all of these here in this dashboard can all be adjusted to whatever you want by clicking that little pencil to change the variable to any of the ones that I just showed you, whether it's you want to look at consumer spending, just keep it all to real estate related.
Okay.
So if you want to look at housing units, renter, and all that in your dashboard, you can change it to look just like that.
That's fantastic. I keep saying excellent and fantastic, and I'm telling you now, because what you're doing is you're equipping me with a skill set and a tool that can then help our clients who are thinking about opening a business or expanding their business. And this tool is fantastic. It's robust. it's
Well, it's simple.
versatile and
Yeah.
it's simple to use. So I'm really excited about sharing this in more detail with people that wants to start a business. This is great, Eric.
Yeah, and what's really great is you can zoom in again, and you can break this down by zip code. You get the highlights, you get the zip code
Look at
numbers.
that.
Zoom in further, and this is where I was telling you that track
Oh,
level
the track,
gets
yes.
below. So now you could really identify.
Mm.
So this is interesting when I show people something like not just owner-occupied housing units. When I go into something like socioeconomic data, when you start looking
Oh,
at
yes.
bachelor's degrees, percent in
Mm.
poverty, percent speaking Spanish at home, disabled, if you want to open up,
Right.
a business to help disable those that are disabled in particular areas. This allows you to further identify percent veterans. So if we
Exactly.
select that that we're going to see that information.
This is
as
great.
well.
And it really helps to establish your target market too.
Yep.
When you're doing your business plan development or marketing development too.
Right. So the other thing you can do is add a filter. And so that'll be the last thing I want to make sure that the audience knows how to do. Let me see. It looks like we lost a little bit of coverage on our map here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it's back. So let me change this back to housing and go to, let's go to value. So median owner occupied housing unit value, select that. And now by tract, I can actually really see, what areas I'm looking at. So it's automatically selecting a particular track.
This is
Let's
by
go
tract.
here.
That's really detailed information.
Mhm. And so I can see, the areas that are highlighted in blue having the highest median owner occupied housing unit value. So if I select this particular area, it's going to change my track
Oh,
number.
look at that.
Look at that. Now, what I can also do is, let's say, I just want to focus on those high-end homes. I'm not really, I don't want to get the full spectrum of these other homes that fall in this range here down below. Well, all I have to do is go into my filtering option here, and now I can add a filter, go back to the housing, and then select that value and select that variable. And what that allows me then to do is really just go ahead and create a range.
Oh, I see.
So let's say I just want to stick to maybe homes that are over 300,000. I'm going
Okay.
to apply my filter. Okay, so now my filter is applied. So what that's going to do is it should actually, hold on a second. Well, this is the 2.1, so not without its glitches, of course. Let me see if, because what it should do, okay, back, it's my filter, and, well, I'm guessing it's probably a glitch because it should remove all the other colors so that it just displays
Okay.
that. And in the 2.0, it probably will do it correctly, but the 2.1, not without its glitches. But here you can still easily kind of navigate and find that range, even using just the sort of the coloring scheme that is provided.
This
And
is
so-
fantastic. I mean, and it's free, it's accessible, and I'm just so pleased that you had an opportunity to come by and share this with us.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. And I'm always happy to come back anytime.
Definitely, and we'll switch over in just a second so we can get your information and some next steps. So thank you so much, Eric. We really
Oh, it's my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. This was
Thank-
fantastic. And if anyone would like to contact you, then could you please share your information?
That's right. You can shoot me an email if you want to eric.a.coyle@census.gov, and that's eric.a.coyle@census.gov. And you can also reach me by phone. I am one of those rare government employees that does answer his phone.
He does answer his phone. Absolutely. I can attest to that.
And you can reach me by phone at area code 702-236-3202. So again, 702-236-3202. And again, I'm here to help everyone and anyone who wants to learn how to access our data, how to use our data, and whether it's an email. Sometimes I get emails just saying, "Hey, can you just send me some data? This is what I'm looking for. I don't have time for a webinar. I don't need a workshop, but I would really appreciate it." And I'm always happy to do that as well.
Okay, wonderful. And speaking of a webinar, I'm looking forward to having you back for a live stream webinar, and we can continue exploring this wonderful tool that's free and accessible, accurate, robust, the whole nine. And it's free. Did I say free?
Free.
So thank you so much, Eric. It's been a pleasure. And I'm Kathleen Taylor with the Nevada Women's Business Center. Thanks for tuning in. And also, if you have time later on, come back to our YouTube channel to look at this segment again, along with our other live stream webinars as well that are educational for small business developments. So thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was great.